This is Jabber Tech, and today I'm going to give you my 4-month review of the LG Watch Sport LTE edition. Alright, what's going on YouTube? This is Jabber Tech, and I've had this watch for about 4 months now, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I'm going to give you real world statistics on battery life and usage. Coming from an average user that really just loves smartwatches in general, I think they're a great idea, and especially now that the LG G Watch is under $200 online, it might be time to consider one for your next purchase. So looking at the specs of this watch, it's a 1.3 OLED display from LG. It has Qualcomm's Snapdragon Wear 2100, which was specifically designed for smartwatches to give better power efficiency, and it's covered in Corning's Gorilla Glass 3, and it has 4 gigabytes of internal storage, as well as 468 megabytes of RAM, and it is IP68 water and dust resistant, so no worry about water or dust getting into your watch. So let's take a look at how you charge this watch really quickly. It is a Qi charger, sits on this nice dongle right here, and it does take about 2 hours to 2.5 hours to fully charge, which is kind of a bummer because it only has a 430 milliamp battery. I can't wait until there's some form of quick charging on these smartwatches. I'm sure that'll come. We'll just have to wait for it. The watch itself is really attractive. I do like the design. It is a little thick, so those of you that have smaller wrists will not like it as much, but for me, as you can see, it actually fits really nicely, and I'll get into that a bit later. But it is a nice looking watch. You do have this rotating digital crown on the side here, as well as 2 actionable buttons that you can assign to any app of your choice. And because this watch has Android Pay thanks to NFC built in, you are required to have a pattern set up just for security reasons, and I'll show you mine. It doesn't really matter. The display on this watch is absolutely gorgeous. You can see it outside without any issues, and I think it's a really nice design that can either be used when you're out in a fancy restaurant, at the bar, or casually running in Central Park. It's just a great all-around watch in my opinion. So once again, let's open up the watch and I'll show you how to use it. You have various watch faces thanks to Android 2.0, and as you can see, you are presented with a lot of information at first glance. Some of these actions, which are called complications, are customizable, and I'll show you that right now. I'll show you this one right here. You're showing a lot of information at first glance, which you can see, and by hitting them, it does open up the action associated with that touch. So that was for my calendar. You can set up time on this watch face for another city, which I have done. You're showing battery life right there. And if you set yourself step counting goals, it'll be showing right there, and the amount of time that you've been active. So you can also customize these watch faces just by holding down on the watch face itself. And you can change things like the color if you'd like to. Now, of course, these are all predefined from the manufacturer, the developer rather, and you can just change the color of the time. You can change the layout. So we'll choose this one right here just to show you guys. And there's a theme. Let's change it to that one. And then this one, you can add a background image, but I do not believe I have any photos saved to my watch. So anyway, once you're done, hit the digital crown and it'll show you your new watch face. Like I said, it's all up to the developer what they want you to be able to change based on these complications, and you can just change them by pressing the setup menu, the setup button on the bottom. That's a quick look at some of the watch faces. So each watch face gives you a different setting for your always on display, and a lot of them are customizable, from showing very minimal displays to a full-fledged ambient display. To turn the display off, you put your hand over, and this is the always on display. For this watch face, it is quite detailed. So with the always on display, you will only get about 12 hours of usage, maybe a little more. But with the always on display turned off, you definitely get a day, a full day, and possibly into the next day. That's been my experience. and I'm happy with it. I know a lot of Fitbit users will say they get a lot more days, but their watch isn't as nice and it doesn't display as much information. But when you have the always on display turned off, meaning you flick your wrist to activate the screen like so, you definitely get a full day and maybe into the next day, but guaranteed you'll get at least 12 to 15 hours with this watch. With the LTE standalone only with this watch, I only got 6 hours of usage with making phone calls and text directly from the watch as I normally would do from a smartphone, and 6 hours is definitely subpar. But again, I don't think this watch is intended solely for LTE use. So if you're going to buy this watch just for LTE, you might want to get a second charger to carry with you. And when I didn't make too many calls or text messages on the watch, just on standby alone, it was only 8 hours, which I guess is okay, but you definitely will be taking calls and text messages from this watch if you have an LTE only connection. But again, it's a great option to have if you're out for a run and you don't want to take your phone. You can still be in contact with those that you love and not have to worry about running out of battery life with your run. I'm sure you're not running for more than 6 hours or 8 hours anyway, and if you are, that's awesome, but I'm not the one doing that. This watch does have built-in GPS, so you can leave your phone behind if you'd like to take a run without your phone. Very nice setting. I enjoy that. You have Google Fit Workout. If you select that and you select go for a run, it will acquire GPS, and you can press start, and you're off on your run. It'll show you the miles, your minutes, calories, and your heart rate. Really nice feature. And if you don't want to use Google Fit, there are other applications that you can get for your watch, but the Google one works actually quite well. I was really happy with it. I tracked it both with Runtastic running on my phone as well as just on the watch with Google Fit Workout, and they were just about the same. Now, this digital crown that I said saves you a lot of time. This is a touch screen, obviously, but with the digital crown, you can scroll through and see any notifications that you have on the main page. I'm going to clear all right there. And by pressing it, you are prompted with all your apps and settings right here, which you can scroll through, or you can use your hand and just flip through. But in the winter, or when you just can't get to the touchscreen, you don't want to dirty up your screen for some reason, you are able just to rotate this digital crown. Now, what I wish you'd be able to do, I wish you'd be able to select something and open it by pressing the digital crown, but pressing it takes you back to your main screen, we'll call it. Pressing it again brings you to your apps. 2 buttons on the side, you can set them for your favorite app. So I have the top one set up for Google Fit Workout, so I can easily just start my run without having to go into the different menus. And the bottom one I have set up for Android Pay, and that just shows you how to pay with your watch. And then to go back, you just press the crown. So when you do receive a text message, this is what it'll look like. That's what it looks like. And then you can quickly reply by hitting that button. And you can have emojis if you'd like. You can draw an emoji and the watch will figure out what you're trying to send. And it sends it directly, just like so. This is all in real time. Or you can type it, or Google will automatically suggest based on what it thinks you're going to reply. These change all the time based on the text messages. And lastly, you can speak your message and just say hi to the watch and it'll send it. Really easy, very nice. And you can get phone calls. This is what it'll look like when you get a phone call, and you can accept or reject the phone call if you'd like. Overall, like I said, I'm really happy with this watch. I'm really glad I bought it. There were a lot of people that didn't like it, but as you can see, it is quite thick, and that's because you do have the SIM card here, but that doesn't bother me. I actually like a big watch, and I'll show you how it looks on my wrist. I think it looks just fine on my wrist. It's not too thick. I think it's an attractive watch. It fits my wrist just fine. It's not loose. It's really nice. Excellent watch. I'm really glad that I bought it, like I said. The only thing I wish is that the straps were removable and interchangeable, but the reason that they aren't, they say they have the antennas for the LTE signal within the band, so you're not able to change it. That just means you save money by not buying multiple bands. And overall, I think it really looks good whether you're wearing a suit or if you're just going for a jog or casually having a drink at a bar. I got a lot of compliments on this watch. I have no doubt that this watch will last me another year or two. It has all the options built in: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, NFC, LTE, all that goodness built into a small package. But the watch overall, I'd say, is a win. I'm happy with it. I don't see myself changing. I love the fact that I can have different watch faces every day if I'd like. And I love these complications that I can change and display different information that I'd like to see at a glance. It's definitely a win. Thanks guys, I hope you liked this review, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.